Hey, how's it going, everyone? Saintsfan back again with another GTA Online Doomsday Heist video, and today I'll be going over all 13 new vehicles we saw in the trailer. Now, these vehicles we should expect Tuesday when the DLC does release. However, the one thing that the last few DLCs had was the drip feeding. Now, we don't know if that's going to be happening with this DLC, but the one interesting thing is, because this is a heist, how can they really drip feed the vehicles? At least the ones they showed. Because if you're playing with those vehicles in the heist, then I really don't see how they could just wait 5 more weeks to release some of them. I'm sure there will be some sort of drip feed, maybe with like some of the supercars, but at least with most of these, I think we'll get them once we play the heist. So that's very good news. Now the vehicles. The first one we have is the Osprey Helicopter. I guess this is also considered a plane. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be classed under. That's going to be the interesting part. I don't think the Tula is a helicopter. The Tula, I'm pretty sure, is just a plane with the VTOL capabilities. I'm sure that's what this will be. One thing you can see, it actually has that gun underneath, so I'm wondering how useful that'll be. If it's somewhat like the Valkyrie cannon, I think it'll be pretty good. And I think that's a pretty good balance for giving us some sort of explosive cannon, but not having it like the Hydra. But this one is the Osprey. Like I said, if you want to get accustomed to driving this or flying this, then you might want to check out the Tula. I'm hoping this thing is not as expensive, though, as that Tula. The next one we saw was this missile defense truck. This, I wouldn't be surprised if it was limited to just the heist, because, I mean, is this really necessary for online? I know there's a bunch of jets, and I guess it could be considered necessary, but I just feel like that may be a little too crazy. And I know, considering we're going to be getting the DeLorean, and we have a bike that can fly, and the Vigilante, I don't know, it just looks so out of place. But hey, if it does come, then I'm all for it. Now, you saw in the trailer it had that sort of barrage capability. I'm sure that's what it'll be. I don't know if it'll have a homing missile, like a lock-on. Maybe that's how they balance it. Instead of locking on, you just have like 20 missiles to constantly barrage. And that may not be a bad way to balance it, but I would be kind of disappointed if they don't have some sort of homing missile lock-on system. But that's the second vehicle. Third one is probably one of my favorites from the trailer. We have the armored SWAT truck. Now, I'm really hoping, because this is somewhat of a police vehicle, they don't limit it to just the heists. Maybe this is the DLC they finally say, screw it, let them own police vehicles. Because there's literally nothing, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. But as you see, this one has the scoop, and it has that gun, which I think is a grenade launcher up on top. Hopefully, like I mentioned in the breakdown yesterday, this doesn't smoke as easily as the Phantom Wedge does, because that would be very unfortunate. And I'm hoping this maybe carries a lot more people too. Moving along, we have our first look at the new jet. Now, in real life, people have been comparing this to the Avro Vulcan, which I can see some similarities. But this jet is one of the more interesting vehicles in this trailer just because of the cannons on it. It's got a cannon up top and it's got a cannon on the bottom, which means there's probably 2 other people in this plane, but the plane doesn't look that big. So I'm wondering how that's going to sort of play out. Do you just get in and whatever seat you're in, you hit right on the D-pad and you can access those cameras or those guns, or is it something different? Also, you saw it did have the bombing capabilities, so hopefully those are very good as well. Next up, we got the DeLorean. This thing is going to be probably the most bought vehicle out of this entire update because it flies. Now, one thing, after looking at the trailer a few more times, I don't believe this is actually the same vehicle in the Submarine sequence, which we'll get to in a second. But we have the DeLorean here, and it's probably going to cost a lot of money, so just be prepared for that. But the fact that it can fly and the fact that it can shoot rockets means it's a very powerful vehicle. Then we have the 4x4 trophy truck armored version. I'm thinking that's what they're going to end up calling it, like the Mark II trophy truck, if they decide to call the tank the Mark II tank. This one, though, you can see it has 2 machine guns. It's got the one on the front, and then it's also got one on the back. So that's definitely a unique sort of aspect, and no other weaponized vehicle has that. Although, what you are gaining in firepower, you're losing in armor and cover, because this is a pretty open vehicle. So it may be fine for missions, but in terms of PvP, you may not find it that useful. Then we have a look at that new stealth helicopter, the Akula. I'm hoping this doesn't end up being better than the Hunter, because that would really suck if everyone bought the Hunter thinking it was going to be the best heli, and then the next update they come out and add this to the game. It does look amazing, but so does the Hunter. So, I mean, in terms of looks, they both are very unique and very awesome. I'm definitely interested and curious to see how it does compare against the Hunter, because it's got the cannon on the front, which looks like it's just a minigun, so it probably won't be that good unless it's explosive. And it does have the rockets, it looks like, on the side. So it'll be interesting to see how that does turn out. Although this one does hold more than 2 people, so maybe that's a plus for that. Then we get to that submarine sequence. Now, I can totally see why everyone, including myself, thought these cars were the DeLoreans, because they kind of look like the DeLorean, but I don't believe they actually are, just because if you take a look and break it down, the backs aren't that similar. Just the way the car isn't that similar, so it looks like the DeLorean is just going to be strictly for flying. You're not going to be flying and then diving into the water, which I think is a good thing, because that'd be a little overpowered. As much as I would love it, it'd be a little overpowered. But what I'm going to go ahead and guess is that this car is that secret car we saw in that Lester screenshot. Now, unfortunately, they don't show us the front of the car in the ocean, in the water, and that's the only part they show in this little teaser shot with Lester. But it does look similar. They both have a white paint job, which I know doesn't really mean much, but it does look like the car in the Lester picture is somewhat of a sport classic car. And one thing you can somewhat see by the tire, it has that black line, and in the submarine picture, it's got that black line. So I'm guessing somehow it transforms into the submersible vehicle, and that'll probably end up costing a lot of money. Then we have the new tank. So this is I'm gonna call it the Rhino Mark II. It'll probably be called something different, but it's got that like energy plating on it, which I'm wondering if that's only gonna be for the heist. I'm sort of expecting that. I doubt some of this stuff is gonna make its way into free mode, just because it'd be a little too unbalanced. But the tank looks awesome. You get the railgun, probably gonna cost a ton of money. Hopefully it's somewhat of a personal vehicle. Not sure how they'll do that. Maybe there's some new mechanic in this update, but I would like to be able to customize it. You know, unlike the Rhino Tank we have now, you can't customize it. Unlike any Pegasus vehicle, you can't customize it. So I'm hoping they do that some sort of way. And then the final thing, we got the Jetpack. I think this is going to be very cool. I think the way you're going to be able to spawn it is through your interaction menu, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of cooldown. It does have the rockets that you see on the side, so I'm sure it'll be somewhat like the Oppressor in that it has maybe 20 rockets before you run out and you have to replenish it. But this thing looks awesome. I can't wait for that. I'm really hoping, and I doubt they would limit it to just the heist, because it would sell like freaking hotcakes, but we all know Rockstar do some very weird stuff. So wouldn't surprise me, but I'm definitely looking forward to this. Is it even considered a vehicle? I'm guessing. How cool would it be if we have jetpack races? I could totally see that working out. But there you guys have it. Those are all. Well, and I guess the final one is the submarine. I forgot to talk about the submarine. People are speculating that's one of the new properties. It could be, but if you remember on the property tease a few months ago, Rockstar said there's going to be new properties at the Maze Bank foreclosure website, and you can't really foreclose on a submarine. At least I don't think you can. So I don't think it'd make much sense if a submarine was on that website. So I think it's going to be something different. And another one I actually forgot to mention was the other secret vehicle in that Lester screenshot. It's the plane in the top left. It looks somewhat similar to the Osprey that we saw, but it's actually a little bit bigger if you compare the two. Not entirely sure what this plane is going to be, because all we can really see is the front part. But that is another vehicle that we may be getting in the heist update. There you guys have it. Those are all the vehicles that we saw in the trailer, and those are all the vehicles that should be coming in the next update. Hopefully not in a drip feeding manner, because I would be very upset if I had to wait a couple of weeks for the jetpack or for that DeLorean. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Are you excited for this DLC? I'm doing a shark card giveaway, doing 2 $3.5 or maybe even 3 $3.5 million shark card giveaways over on my Twitter. Link to that will be in the description, so definitely check that out. But as always, thank you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one.